FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Some of the arguments about, kids is that, they've got the attention span of a sort of neurotic fly, that they're shallow, they can't hold a conversation, their brains are being infantilised, and, it's the end of humanity as we know it. I think Susan even said it's a bigger threat to humanity than climate change, which is when I read that I thought, yeah, I've got to do this debate. Because I look at the way my kids operate. I was talking to my son about the debate and saying, how did you learn to read? And he said, well, I was never interested in all those Postman Pat and Spot books that you gave me. But when I got that Super Nintendo Donkey Kong game, I had to learn to read because I couldn't play the game if I didn't. And I've never seen a 5-year-old learn to read so fast because he was completely engaged and wanted to do. But to do it, he had to solve the problem of, I can't read. Engagement, learning, the sort of dopamine effect of playing the game, but he was still learning. The other thing about my son is that he is the greatest expert on the world on the music of the 30s and 40s. And I said to him, mate, how do you know so much about this stuff? Why are you into this stuff? And he said, well, I used to like rap music and I used to find it used to get me a bit fired up, but I played this game called Fallout. What's that? Well, it's sort of set in an alternate scenario of World War II where there was an absolute nuclear war and that the sort of society was sort of, people sort of running around various places in nuclear fallout. But the music at the back of that game was Bing Crosby, the Andrews Sisters, Glenn Miller, Spike Jones and the Wakatinis, I think he talks about. And the sort of notion that people are saying is that kids sort of, all they're after is this sort of dopamine instant satisfaction effect. They've actually taken a lot more. And what he then did was he didn't go and read a book about it, because I don't think there probably are too many books about music of the 30s and 40s. He went and found the songs. He went and watched the YouTube videos. And he got a whole deeper, richer connection around this because he could look at the people. How did they dress? How did they sing? What was the culture like that around? It was rich, it was real, and he loves it. And when you hear him driving down the road, you can hear him from a long way, because unlike most kids who've got the boom, boom, boom stuff, you hear, Big John, and he knows all the words. And I look at that and sort of say, from learning to read to finding stuff that he's interested in, and when he's interested in stuff, he goes so deep. Because this sort of notion of shallows, it's what I say is kids aren't no longer narrow, they're broad. They're no longer shallow, they're deep. The only thing is that when they're engaged in learning, they learn about the stuff that they want, not necessarily the stuff we want to teach them. And I don't think necessarily that that's a bad thing. I think it's more the way we teach and the way we engage kids is about how we teach them, as opposed to social media being a problem or YouTube or whatever. The richness of the media. If you want your kids to sort of find out about Martin Luther King, they can read the I Had a Dream speech, or they can go to YouTube and watch it. I think this is what's happening to society. Information's getting out there and people are getting into it.